I call this video Fields of Potentiality, a portal-friendly multiverse, for lack of a better term. Some of these things are too small. I miscalculated the size, I guess. This right here is my old model of a portal, photographic portal. I had to scale down because I lacked the money to, lack the resources, lack the exposure in the first place, and lack the resources to create a decent sized portal, photographic portal. So I scaled it down to about 1 foot cubed. And I didn't put the picture on here, but there's an inverse relationship that I've known for so many years. Inverse invisibility. In this case, it would be photographic invisibility on the outside and a photographic holodeck on the inside. And in the middle of that photograph, in the area, in the space of the photographic holodeck, backdrop holodeck, there would be the potential to create a holographic display, a hologram, a sort of solid type appearing hologram. In this case, I use a dog toy that's inside of my photo queue. In short, for this piece, for this picture, it requires 54 pictures on the outside and 54 pictures on the inside for 108 altogether. But you take one set of photographs, copy it twice to produce the three effects that I attribute to real-life portals. A real-life portal would have an outside cloak, an interior backdrop holodeck, and an interior hologram, photographic hologram in this case. And I've yet to build a working one, but I'm trying to right now. And this could easily be converted to my light interface concept. I wish I could have put the picture in here. I'll put a link to another one that shows the inverse relationship between invisibility and holodecks. But in the conceptual frame of mind, I guess, is an outside invisibility and its inverse byproduct, a holodeck. Or virtual reality. I just call them holodecks because that's what's popularly known as a holodeck for people who are interested in Star Trek and stuff like that. Next generation. Invisibility turned outside in is a holodeck. And I'll just leave it at that. This is an illustration of a person looking at a light interface. Concept for a light interface. And a light interface is all it is a nested shape of the object that you want to make invisible, but in a more concentrated form so you can hide something in between. This is an intersection also of a visual reality. And I believe that our world, the reality we exist in, can be viewed as an intersection, as a field of potentialities, a field of intersections of at least a visual aspect. That's what I have a handle on right now, a visual aspect. Not really the intangibility of things, but the visibility and invisibility. Invisibility on the outside, invisibility in the form of a holodeck on the inside. So that's a basic light interface concept. It's a concept. It hasn't been invented, and it's probably likely several years away, if anybody even pays attention to any of my ideas. But a photographic hologram can be built. It just needs the money. And I call these concepts televisual portals. And it requires 3 interfaces. It requires one for the cloak itself, which would feed into the holodeck interface, which would take the person, in this case Bob. I don't have his name here, do I? No. Bob would have his self scanned and visually transferred to the negative interface holodeck, which would be transmitted to Alice's, I don't have her name here either, holodeck, and while her body is being scanned and visually represented in the virtual form in the virtual holodeck, and it would be transmitted over to Bob's holodeck. That's her, and they would overlap each other, continuously overlapping each other. That's why I call it a recursive chain of mirror worlds, the real and virtual telepresent televisual portals. There's a chain because outside is the real world, both non-local real worlds. The inside is a virtual world. It begins the chain with the real world, then the virtual, no physical objects, just light. And then it becomes a real world again, light and physical objects. Then it transfers over to the purely virtual holodeck, light, which transfers over again to the real holodeck, physical and light, then virtual, physical and light, virtual, physical and light. And it's up to each one who decides which holodeck they want to represent, which place they want to visit between each other. Could it be her holodeck, virtual world inside the invisible portal, or could it be his holodeck, where she goes into? It's just a matter, I guess, of the preference for which scenery you want to visit, her world or his world, Bob, Alice's or Bob's. And cosmic portals I have yet to figure out. I'm being totally honest, but I talked to my friend just yesterday, I believe, and I stumbled upon the idea of entangled boatsman brains. If any of y'all know what a boatsman brain is, it's a most unlikely occurrence that a person could be formed all their life experiences in a boatsman brain in space. And I believe through an entanglement of boatsman brains, that would be the next step beyond the photographic, beyond the televisual, in a spectrum of portals, cosmic portals. And in this field of potentiality, I screwed up this sum. In the field of potentiality, there exists at each point in space the potential for not only souls, as my friend was talking about, entangled boatsman brains is what I would call them, but also portals. In a portal, I believe, is similar to a soul. It's just an extension of the soul in space, or the boatsman brain in space. It's a portal is an extension of the experiences that you can experience either in one holodeck or another, transferred from one holodeck to another. The preference is up to each observer, each occupant of the televisual portal. In cosmic portals, I I believe, are just an extension of this field of potentiality, where the three attributes of a portal exist in every point in space. And there's a poem, part of a poem by Walt Whitman that I always reference, that I try to reference sometimes. And it goes something like, every cubic inch of space is a miracle. And that can't be better illustrated than Photographic, Televisual, and Cosmic Portals. Because every part of space, every point in space has the potential for an invisible cloak, an interior holodeck, backdrop holodeck, and an interior holographic display, which would be these virtual cells in each other's holodeck. And to end all this, the bonus feature for all of these intersection concepts is a dual adaptive camouflage, puppet light interfacing, adaptable to itself, its interface inside, its puppet interface inside the suit, as well as its outside environment. The suit is also considered part of the outside environment, so it's adaptable to the interface and the environment outside. And this is an illustration of what an invisible suit would look like, going through rays of light. It would go through the interface, the puppet interface. So all of this, and this is probably the longest video I've made, but all of this relies on the concept of fields of potentiality. Can either be described as portals or boatsmen brains, souls. Oh, thanks a lot.